This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Principals confirm many students disengaged from school system. Secondary school principals have shared information which confirms that the disruption of face-to-face classes due to COVID-19 has caused a large number of students to remain unaccounted for in the school system. They are reporting that less than half of their students are showing up for online classes, and many of those who log in eventually fail to remain online. The Education Ministry on Tuesday reported that 26% of students are still unaccounted for in the education system, even though this number is an improvement over last year. Principals are growing concerned about what will happen to students for the remainder of the term. Adrian Sinclair, principal of Alston High School in Clarendon, said his school population is at 490, but only approximately 35%, or about 172 students, are engaged online on a consistent basis.
We have online approximately 35%. That's the average students coming, 172 students coming in. On a regular basis, they are engaged online, and we have approximately 318 students who are not engaged from our enrollment. We have seen a little improvement because my guidance counselor, we have started guidance counselor and the dean of discipline to go out. And we have been contacting families by telephone as well, and we have seen some improvement, but there are days when the numbers will fluctuate. But basically, on average, we have approximately 35% coming out.
Paul Morgan, principal of Crosskeys High School in Manchester, shared a similar situation of dismal and fluctuating numbers in student attendance.
We have that challenge. So, for example, on a daily basis, of the 363 that are registered now, we may have, for example, some days 145, another day we might have 155, and sometimes it drops. And so we have to be looking at, funds to see how we can help to purchase data, to help to keep those online. We have to be looking, for example, those who don't have tablets and gadgets, a donate a device program from our stakeholders, to help partner with us to get them online.
Most tourism workers back on the job, says Bartlett. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says most of the sector's 170,000 employees who were affected by the COVID-19 pandemic are back on the job. The minister made the announcement in the House of Representatives on Wednesday afternoon. However, he did not reveal the specific number of employees who have returned to work. Mr. Bartlett said Jamaica has earned US $1.7 billion from the sector since the borders were reopened in June 2020.
Since the reopening of our borders in June 2020 to September 2021, we have welcomed a total of 1,285,368 visitors, 1,276,987 stopovers, and so far 8,381 cruise visitors. We should have cruise fully back on track by December with pretty much the full fleet. We are projecting just under 300,000 cruise passengers to Jamaica by the end of the year, by which time the Montego Bay and Falmouth ports should also be reactivated, with the hopes of having calls also at Port Royal and Port Antonio. It's at a level which is beyond and in fact double, more than double the national average. Because I am to report that today, Prime Minister, based on your instruction again to us, that we should drive this process, that the tourism workers of Jamaica are now 60% vaccinated. And in some places, and that's a marketing tool, Prime Minister.
U.S. Embassy issues a security alert for several Jamaican communities. The United States Embassy in Jamaica has issued a security alert dated October 13, warning U.S. government personnel to refrain from traveling in crime hotspots throughout the island, highlighting the war-torn areas in Augustown and the Cassava Peace in St. Andrew. Due to the sharp increase in shootings and gun-related violence over the past 2 weeks in the Augustown community of Kingston, U.S. government personnel are prohibited from traveling to Augustown with immediate effect and until further notice, the security alert cautioned. There have been several murders in the community of Augustown in recent months, with reprisals and brutal acts linked to a bitter internecine rivalry between the River Gang and the Gaza Gang in the community. The advisory also listed a number of communities across Jamaica which have been plagued by gang violence. The advisory ominously warned its personnel to avoid all of Clarendon except when using the major highways. There has been a 10.4% increase in murders this year when compared to the corresponding period last year. According to statistics provided by the Jamaica Constabulary Force for the period January 1 to October 9, there have been 1,111 murders when compared to 1,006 for the corresponding period last year. The U.S. Embassy in Kingston further advised the U.S. citizens that U.S. government personnel are prohibited from traveling to the areas listed below, from using public buses, and from driving outside of prescribed areas of Kingston, especially at night. Do not travel to the following areas: Cassava Peace, Augustown, downtown Kingston, defined as between Mountain View Avenue and Hagley Park Road, and south of Halfway Tree and Old Hope Roads. Downtown Kingston includes Trenchtown, Tivoli Gardens and Arnett Gardens, Grants Pen, Standpipe, Duhaney Park, Mountain View Avenue between Deanery Road and Windward Road. Neighborhoods including Olympic Gardens, Cockburn Gardens, Seaview Gardens, and Denham Town. The approved primary route to the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston, the embassy said, is South Camp Road to Norman Manley Boulevard. The approved secondary route is Mountain View Avenue to Deanery Road to South Camp Road and then Norman Manley Boulevard. The embassy cautioned against travel in all of Clarendon except passing through the parish using the T1 and A2 highways. Do not travel to the following areas of St. Catherine: Spanish Town, Central Village, areas in Portmore to include Old Brayton, Nago Head, Newland, and Waterford. Do not travel to the following areas in St. James: neighborhoods in Montego Bay to include Flankers, Norwood, Glendevon, Paradise Heights, Rose Heights, Canterbury, and parts of Mount Salem. Woman drops law studies to do God's work. Parents think she is brainwashed. The decision by a budding lawyer to drop out of university and join a religious movement has left her parents in a state of bewilderment. Danielle Gray, 22, having recently earned her bachelor's degree in law, was 2 years away from becoming a lawyer had she gone straight to law school. However, on September 29, she broke the padlock on the grill to her house in St. James and left to join the group following the Blueprint Ministry, which has a base in Portmore, St. Catherine. I was led to it earlier this year, and I was convicted by the Lord to stop school and to become a part of this ministry, Gray told members of the church congregation last Saturday. However, her parents, Denzel and Glennis Gray, fear that their daughter may have been brainwashed. She became unruly and argumentative. She would look into space, isolate herself in her room, change her eating habits, her style of dressing, and began reading specific books, said her father. Danielle's parents said they tried desperately to find out what was happening in her life. They managed to access her cell phone and they discovered text messages that left them worried. Now that you are accepted to Countryland, we will be sending a drive to pick you up and take you there, one of the messages read. According to the Grays, prior to Danielle finally leaving home, she began going out during curfew hours, and fearing for her safety, they took away her house key. However, a few days later, after contemplation, we decided we will give her back the key because she isn't a prisoner, although I felt like I was living with a complete stranger, said Denzel. Wilhelm Leckie, one of the leaders of the ministry during last Saturday's worship session, said Danielle called him earlier this year and expressed her conviction and her decision not to continue to go to school. I expressed to her as well where I am. I am closing up medical school. I am not going to work in a hospital. I am going to do the work of the Lord, Lecky said. Lecky said that Danielle feared breaking the news to her parents. Mom and Dad, I want to thank you for taking care of me all these years, but I am leaving school to do the Lord's work, she reportedly told her parents. Danielle's departure has devastated her family. Her mother was recently hospitalized for a short period, and her younger sister is so badly traumatized that plans are in place for her to get therapy. They desperately want Danielle to come back into their lives. We love you unconditionally, and we would like to know where you are, Glennis said in a message she hopes will reach her daughter. Our door is always open for you. If you want me to pick you up, just call me. No one can love you like us. What wouldn't I have given for you? I gave you my all, and I just pray you will come to your senses quickly before this is too late, she added. A missing persons report was filed with the police. Lecky said that Danielle has been taken to the police to prove that she is not missing. However, checks with the Corporate Communications Unit of the Jamaica Constabulary Force yesterday revealed that the 22-year-old is still missing. It appears that Danielle has no intentions of returning home. I want to make it clear to the entire world that I am here under my own conviction. I was not under any duress. I am an adult, and this is where the Lord would have me to be, and by His grace, this is where I am going to be, she said. COVID-19 Vaccination Task Force presents preliminary recommendations. The National COVID-19 Vaccination Operationalization Task Force has presented its preliminary findings and recommendations to Prime Minister Andrew Holness and the Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton. According to a statement from the task force, it is currently finalizing its full report. The task force, which is chaired by President and the Chief Executive Officer of the Port Authority of Jamaica, Professor Gordon Shirley, has committed to submitting the final report by the week of October 18 to 22. The task force has also indicated that it is willing to engage with the public to discuss its recommendations. The task force's statement also indicates that the report will provide recommendations for expanding access, mitigating vaccine hesitancy, and improving the seamlessness of the national vaccination program. The statement added that, based on the need for urgent action, the task force has adopted an agile approach of systematically monitoring and evaluating the vaccination program and has been providing the Ministry of Health and Wellness with critical evidence-based recommendations which have contributed to improving accessibility and making the experience more seamless. Recommendations to date have led to the spatial expansion of the vaccination program, including the number of available vaccination locations. The task force has also provided insights for the Ministry's communications program regarding strategies to mitigate vaccination hesitancy across several groups of Jamaicans and the use of multiple communication platforms to encourage take-up of the various vaccines available. Since being appointed on September 2, the task force has met with a cross-section of stakeholders to holistically understand the various issues and the perspectives related to the national vaccination program, intending to improve its convenience and efficiency. This has included surveys and meetings with citizens from various social groups and on-the-ground observations from repeat visits to several vaccination sites. The mandate of the task force is to examine and optimize the operational and logistical aspects of the national vaccination program from end to end. Some of the areas of focus include the improvement of the operation of vaccination sites, the development of strategies to recruit suitable personnel to enhance the delivery of vaccination services, engaging with various stakeholders to encourage and to facilitate participation, and making recommendations for an internationally accepted authentication of Jamaica's vaccine delivery systems. Members are from various industries such as shipping and logistics, the business sector, the health sector, the legal fraternity, government, the behavioral sciences, and the military. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.